You're standing at a gas station at 11 p.m. Your card just got declined for the second time. The pump says $31. You have 19. 200 miles away, in a glass office above a city you'll never live in, someone is signing a document that moves more money in one afternoon than you'll earn in your entire life. Same world, same day, same currency, completely different game. This is your life at every level of wealth. From 0 to $10 million, 10 levels. And at every single one, the rules change. The way people treat you changes. The way you think changes. Most people spend their entire lives stuck between level 2 and level 3 and never understand why. By the end of this video, you will. Let's begin. At level 1, money isn't a number. It's a feeling in your chest. It's the math you do in the cereal aisle. It's the way your stomach drops when your phone buzzes, because it might be a bill. At this level, you don't own money. Money owns you. Here's what almost nobody tells you about level 1. The system is the most expensive here. The less money you have, the more everything costs. Overdraft fees, late fees, higher interest, deposits you can't afford. The price of being broke is paid by the people who can least afford it. And the cruelest part? At level 1, your mind is consumed by survival. There's no room to think about the future, because the present is screaming too loud. This is the trap. Not the lack of money, the lack of space to think. But here's the one thing the system can't take from you at level 1. Your decisions are still yours. The next dollar you keep instead of spend, that's the first brick. Everyone starts here. The difference isn't where you start, it's how long you're willing to stay. $1,000. It doesn't sound like freedom. But the night you cross it, something shifts. For the first time, when the car makes that noise, you don't feel pure panic. You feel a buffer. $1,000 is the first time the world can punch you, and you don't immediately fall down. At level 2, you've built the most underrated thing in personal finance. A gap between you and disaster. But here's where most people lose it. The $1,000 feels like winning, so they spend it. The new phone, the weekend, the thing they deserved, and they're back at level 1 by Monday. Level 2 isn't about the $1,000. It's about proving to yourself that you can hold money without spending it. That single skill, the ability to let money sit and do nothing, is what separates the people who climb from the people who cycle. Boring? Yes. But boring is the entire secret. Remember that. We'll come back to it. $10,000. This is the level where your shoulders drop an inch, where you sleep a little deeper. At 10,000, an emergency stops being a catastrophe and becomes an inconvenience. The transmission, the medical bill, the lost job, they hurt, but they don't end you. But something psychological happens here that almost no one talks about. At level 3, for the first time, you have options, and options change who you are. You start saying no to the job that disrespects you. You start walking away from the deal that feels wrong. $10,000 doesn't just buy security. It buys you a spine. Here's the trap at level 3. Comfort. This level feels good. Good enough that most people stop here, exhale, and never climb again. They mistake stability for the destination, but stability isn't the top of the mountain. It's base camp. And from base camp, the real climb hasn't even started. $50,000. Now we cross a line most people never cross. And on the other side of it, money starts behaving differently. For the first time, your money makes money. Not much. Maybe a couple thousand a year if it's invested. But it's the first time a dollar shows up that you didn't trade your time for. That first free dollar is more important than it looks, because it's proof. Proof that the game you've been told about, the one where money works for you, is actually real. At level 4, you stop thinking week to week. You start thinking year to year. But watch what happens to the people around you at this level. Some of them get quieter. Some of them start asking for things. Because 50,000 is the first level where other people can tell. The way the world treats you has already started to change, and it only accelerates from here. $100,000. There's a famous saying among people who've built wealth. The first 100,000 is the hardest. After that, it gets easier. Most people don't believe that until they live it. Here's why it's true. At 100,000, invested properly, your money can earn $7, $8, $10,000 a year on its own. That's a part-time income generated by money you already have while you sleep. This is the level where compounding stops being a word in a textbook and becomes a force you can feel. But level 5 comes with the most dangerous illusion of all. You feel rich. You're not. $100,000 is not wealth. It's a seed, and the people who spend the seed never see the tree. The ones who climb past level 5 all share one trait. When they hit 100,000, the number they're focused on isn't what they have, it's what it can become. $250,000. At this level, the math starts working against gravity. Your money is now generating $15,000 to $20,000 a year, possibly more than some people earn at a full-time job. You've crossed into a strange new territory. Your money is becoming an employee, and it never sleeps, never quits, never asks for a raise. At level 6, your relationship with time changes. You stop trading hours for dollars in your head. You start asking a different question. What is this hour actually worth? And once you ask that question, you can never unask it. Here's what's quietly happening at this level. You're becoming an investor, not a saver. The skills that got you here, discipline, frugality, holding the line, are no longer enough. The next levels require something different. They require you to think not about saving money, but about deploying it. $500,000. This is the level where the floor disappears beneath you. In the best possible way, at 500,000 invested, your money can generate $30,000, $40,000 a year. For many people, that's enough to live on, which means you've crossed an invisible threshold. You're approaching the point where you don't need to work to survive. Let that sink in. The thing that's controlled every decision of your life, the need to earn, is starting to loosen its grip. At level 7, the doors that were locked start to open. Better investments, private deals, opportunities that were never advertised because they were never meant for level 1 people. And here's the brutal truth nobody says out loud. The best financial opportunities in the world are reserved for people who already have money. The system rewards those who need it least. You're now becoming one of them. But there's a final stretch, and it's where everything you think you know gets tested. $1 million. The word itself carries weight. Millionaire. Since childhood, it's meant made it. So here's the truth that shocks every person who reaches it. It doesn't feel the way you imagined. $1 million invested generates around $40,000 to $70,000 a year, quietly, forever. It doesn't buy yachts. It buys something far more valuable. It buys the end of fear. At level 8, the gas station from the beginning of this video, the declined card, the math in the dark, becomes a memory of a different person. Money is no longer a feeling in your chest. It's just a tool on the table. But here's what no one prepares you for at level 8. The goal is gone. For your whole life, millionaire was the finish line. And when you cross it, you realize there was never a finish line at all. There's only the next level, and the question of who you want to become now that survival is no longer the point. Most people never get to ask that question. You're about to see what's on the other side of it. $5 million. This is where wealth stops being personal and starts being generational. At $5 million, your money generates $200,000 to $300,000 a year. Without you touching the principal, you could never work another day, and your wealth would still grow faster than you could spend it. At this level, You're no longer building a life. You're building a legacy. The decisions you make now will outlive you. The money will land in the hands of people who don't exist yet. And here's the quiet shift that happens at level 9. The wealthy stop thinking about what they can buy and start thinking about what they can control. Companies, property, influence, time, not just their own, but other people's. This is the level the gas station version of you couldn't even picture. Not because it's complicated, but because at level 1, there was never any room to imagine it. There's one level left, and it's not what you think. $10 million. You'd assume this is the top. It isn't. And that's the most important lesson in this entire video. At 10 million, you've reached a strange truth. Above a certain point, more money changes almost nothing about your daily life. You eat the same meals. You sleep in one bed. You live one life. What 10 million actually gives you isn't things. It's the rarest resource on earth. Complete ownership of your own time. No one can tell you what to do with your Tuesday. No one can trade your hours for theirs. The single thing every level was secretly buying. A little more freedom. A little more space. You now have in full. And here's the final, quiet realization at level 10. The billionaires aren't the top either. Above them is something money can't reach at all. The person who has enough and knows it. That piece, it was never for sale. It was never on any of these levels. You could have had it at level 3 or never have it at 10 million. So let's go back to that gas station. The card. The $19. The math in the dark. That person wasn't behind. They were at level 1. And level 1 is just the place where everyone starts. The only thing that ever separated them from level 10 wasn't luck, or genius, or where they were born. It was the willingness to do something boring, consistently, for longer than anyone else was willing to. You know the levels now. You know the traps. You know what changes and what never does. The next dollar you keep instead of spend, that's level 1. The climb starts the moment you decide it does. If this gave you a new way to see the game, subscribe. New stories from the other side. Every day. I'll see you at the next level.